Ladies and gentlemen, the press secretary for Bushcat Tom Enterprises.
Good morning. I have a statement I want to read, and then I'll take your questions. Bushcat Tom's next video will once again have no flying scenes in it whatsoever. What, again? What is going on here? So, Bob, if there's no flying scenes, what's this video going to be about? And why should anybody want to watch it then? This video is all about assembling a sailplane. Now, to answer your second question, why should anybody want to watch this? Because it's on the internet. Next question. So why a sailplane and not a bushcat? Because everybody knows Bushcat Tom loves sailplanes. This really shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Does this mean now that Bushcat Tom thinks sailplanes are better than bushcats? No. You want to elaborate on that? No. Look, let's just be clear here. No one is a greater advocate for bushcats than Bushcat Tom. If you watch this channel, you'd know that. But some of you people can't be bothered to actually watch it, so you really don't know what you're talking about. Next question. Bob, the new congressional report on Bushcat Tom Enterprises suggests that you were paid a large sum of money to keep quiet about Bushcat Tom's questionable antics involving his co-pilot, namely you. Well, Bill, you of all people know how rumors get started. Somebody says something outrageous and then everybody starts believing it without checking the facts. Well, Bob, the facts show that Bushcat Tom used you as fish bait. I don't have any recollection of that. And that he cleans his airplane with your behind. Never happened. Well, we have the video right here if you want to see it. All right, it happened. But that wasn't me. You can't prove that was me. Oh, yes, I think we can. I have an affidavit here from the law offices of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe saying that you threatened litigation against Bushcat Tom for cruel and unusual embarrassment. Within 24 hours, according to your bank statements, you received from Bushcat Tom Enterprises the sum of $250,000 deposited into your account, which you immediately withdrew to buy a brand new Maserati with burgundy interior. Nope, never happened. I was cleaning my pool that day. What day was that, Bob? It was the other day. Look, you got nothing on me, okay? What about this photo of you driving that Maserati off the dealer's lot, laughing and throwing stacks of cash out the window? Oh, you are taking this all out of context. He asked me to pick up the car so I could drive it to the auction house and use the proceeds to buy groceries for poor blind kids in the neighborhood. And I am not going to stand here and let you run down a fine, generous, upstanding citizen like Bushcat Tom. You should be ashamed of yourself. Yeah, but why did you throw stacks of cash out the window? And how come the auction house has no record of a Maserati sale? Look, this is a press conference. The last thing I want to do is answer a lot of questions.
Here's a real treat. We're going to see a glider being assembled.
I believe it's 541 pounds. We just had it weighed, so I'm trying to remember. go out to that wingtip, just kind of pick it up just a tiny bit and push it in.
I can do that.
Right?
Pick it up and push it in.
Just a little bit.
All right, here we go. Up.
Push in on it. There you go. Hold it right there.
Right there. Just hold it.
That's it. Done.
That's it. They could not have done it without me.
So they go in and then you crank them down to lock them so that they're out of the way.
So they're totally out of there when it's disassembled?
They sit in that little tool bag, that orange tool bag. So if you guys want to see back here in the tail box, I'll show you a couple things. So in this box right here, I can put a battery. It'll give me an extra 2 hours of battery life. If I don't need the battery life, I can also put in tail ballast right here. I've got about 10 pounds of weight that I usually fly along with.
What's
and
the
then
battery for?
you'll see up
Okay.
in the front. Yeah.
All right.
You'll hear the little ball that catches the gasoline bolt. And that's it. It's assembled. All the flight controls are connected.
Wow.
I'll throw the winglets on it. Make it look close and similar.
Easy peasy.
And then I'm not going to put it in today.
Yeah.
I'll show you what we use for our pressure. This is what's called a multi-probe. So you see here on the end of it here, there's some air can get through that gap right there, at the end of this tube here, and then right there. So in the back there's a receptor that's got 3 orifices to take static pressure from the static ring right here, take dynamic pressure from the pitot right there, and on the back here is something we call total energy. Total energy is similar to static, but if you imagine the relative wind blowing by here, you get a little bit of a low pressure area behind there. So as you increase your airspeed, that low pressure area sucks a little bit harder. If you slow down, that low pressure area gets a little bit weaker. So that's how we can measure whether or not the airplane is going up and down because you're making changes in airspeed, or is it going up and down because the air mass is rising or lowering you. So it cancels out the effect of increases and decreases in airspeed. Something we call total energy. Grab the pretty winglets. So when this glider was originally designed, the previous gliders didn't do anything really special in terms of laminar flow. With this glider here, they got it to go particularly well through a wide number of air speeds, because this wing does a really good job of maintaining laminar airflow. At the wingtip, however, it had problems where if you were flying at real low speeds and turbulent air, you get airflow separation, it would make a shitload of drag, and then the glider wouldn't climb. So you had this brand new glider that had an amazing lift to drag ratio, could cruise well at just about all speeds, but it wouldn't climb, and they couldn't figure out why. It was because of the turbulence that they were getting out here in the wingtip. Would get basically a separation bubble, and it was just making nothing but drag. So they blunted the leading edge profile a little bit, and the factory added a winglet that was about this high. And it improved it, but it wasn't quite as good. There was a guy out east named Hank Nixon that developed this winglet. These winglets were made by a guy named Dave Nelson over in Michigan. And blunting of the leading edge and making these tall winglets made it so that this glider could climb again finally. So with these winglets, it gets about 44-to-1 lift to drag ratio. This glider is manufactured by Schleicher, Alexander Schleicher in Germany, a town called Pappenhausen. The company dates back to just after World War II. The model is an ASW-24. The AS stands for Alexander Schleicher. The W stands for the designer's name, Gerhard Weibel. And then 24, of course, because it's the 24th model of the Schleicher, lineage. It's what we call a standard class glider. What makes it a standard class glider is that it has a 15-meter wingspan. It has a retractable landing gear, and it has water ballast. If you take this glider and you put a trailing edge flap on it, it's no longer standard class, it's 15-meter class. Okay? So it's flies with a different group of gliders when it's racing. Nowadays, we do a lot of handicapped glider flying anyway, so the differences between the classes are not as important in the used market. You just find pretty much a glider in the best condition you can find and that you can afford.
Out of curiosity, how much does an airplane like this cost?
This one with the new panel that we put in it is probably worth somewhere a little over 40, 42, 43,000 maybe.
Okay. Less than I thought.
Yeah. And there's no...
How old is it?
It was built in 1988.
88.
So we don't have to worry about engine reserves, but the finishes on these things have a finite life on them. Refinishing a glider is probably about the same price as putting a new engine on an airplane. It's in the ballpark. The glider looks pretty, but if you get down real close and look, you'll see some fine crazing and things like that in the finish that aren't quite perfect. So with gel coat, what we do is we lightly sand out the imperfections and then polish it. Sand and polish and sand and polish as the glider ages, and then once it finally gets threadbare, so to speak, then
you just redo it.
Put a new coat of gel coat on it. So I'll throw a battery in it so you guys can see the panel. You were asking about what would you use a battery for. This glider has 2 GPSs in it. It's got a moving map GPS for navigation purposes, and it's got a GPS for data logging purposes that we use on our vertical speed indicator. It was easy. It also has a transponder. This is an older brick style transponder, and a nav radio as well. So you hear that siren right there? It thinks that it's about to take off with the spoilers in the open position. So it's barking at me to close my spoilers. Similarly, if I open the spoilers with the landing gear in the up position, it'll also yell at me that my gear isn't down. So I've got a gear warning system as well. It's all...
Oh, so that's retractable as well.
Yep.
Makes it for a clean ship then.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about total energy and having the ability to factor out changes in airspeed with respect to the airplane's vertical performance. This one is done pneumatically, so it's just a mechanical instrument like any of your other pneumatic instruments. This one over here is an electronic vertical speed indicator. There we go. This does a lot of things. In the periphery, behind what's going on, there's a GPS unit that's recording everything that the glider is doing. We use that for contests. That's how we record our performance. When we go out and we fly cross country, that's how we evaluate our own flying at the end of the day as well. So what makes this different from what you have in your airplanes is that this one will electronically factor out wind gusts. It'll electronically factor out those stick thermals that I was telling you about. If you pull up and push down, it'll electronically wash all of that out of it. It'll keep track of my instantaneous rate of climb on the scale right here. The top number will tell me what it did in the last 360-degree turn, because it's got GPS, so it knows if you're changing direction. So it'll tell me, okay, your last turn took you 20 seconds and you were climbing at 3,000 feet a minute. At the very bottom of it, it will have an averager that'll show you the total rate of climb for the entire thermal. So why would I care about my instantaneous vertical rate, the number for the climb for the last turn I did and the entire height? Well, if I'm to fly fast cross country, I need to climb well. In order to climb well, you have to know how you're doing with respect to the entire thermal. Is my rate of climb increasing or is it decreasing? So if my top number, the number of the last turn, is doing better than the rate of climb for the entire thermal, that means I'm in a better part of the thermal, I'm climbing better. And conversely, if the bottom number was 6, and now it's 5.8, now it's 4.8, and now it's 3, and I'm just kind of dogging at the top of the thermal, it's time to get going because you're wasting time.